I remember David Frost visiting us in Connecticut at a house which we all shared for the summer in that first year of Beyond the Fringe in New York.
I was and still am a pathetic swimmer.
And Frost then plunged his clay-coloured body into this water and sank, as he has subsequently risen without a trace.
I was making odd gulping noises and so on, but at first, as he said, he assumed I was doing a satirical attack on drowning.
Peter, I think, rather heroically jumped into the water and saved him, at which point Frost famously said, "Super."
But in fact, he did. He did. He saved my life at that point. Absolutely.
By the end of 1963, the satire bubble had burst, and private eye sales began to decline after the boom of the Profumo scandal.
A lot of people think that the magazine is thoroughly scurrilous and ought to be killed.
Well, it's very, very unpopular with all sorts of people, and I think that's a very good reason for keeping it going.
TW3 was taken off air, and the establishment collapsed. Now a satire king without a kingdom, Cook forged a new alliance with his Beyond the Fringe co-star, Dudley Moore.
I was offered a program which I could fill in as I wanted to, and I asked Peter if he would join me in some sketches and stuff. And that's how it started. We didn't have any sort of extraordinary bonding between us, you know, that promised great things ahead.
I'm afraid I got lost in one of the corridors.
Yes, he's a bit older than we thought, but makeup can take care of that, can't they?
I hope I'm not late.
Right. I know he's been to makeup, he can go back again, okay?
Right. They admirably complemented one another. There was something, there was a sort of sweet, proletarian, cuddlesome quality about Dudley, and then a lot of this strange, lunatic, patrician obsession on the part of Peter.
Is something wrong?
No, not exactly. It's, just, you don't happen to have another suit with you, do you?
Not on me, no.
No.
Physically, they complemented one another, Dudley being very small, Peter being tall.
1.5.
They complemented each other in the sense that Dudley's humour is not very largely verbal. He's much more of a clown and mugs a lot, and he's a very good person to bounce off.
Mr. Spigot.
Oh, yes, Spigot by name, Spigot by nature.
It's very hard to imagine the success of the show without Dudley's talent as a performer.
Mr. Spigot, you, a one-legged man, are auditioning for the role of Tarzan. Right. A role traditionally associated with a two-legged artiste.
Correct.
And yet you, a unidexter, are applying for the role. Right. A role for which 2 legs would seem to be the minimum requirement.
But nevertheless, it was immediately apparent to those of us who knew Peter's material that this was Peter's idiom.
Your right leg, I like. I like your right leg. It's a lovely leg for the role. The moment I saw it come in through the door, I said, hello, there's a lovely leg for the role, I said. What a lovely leg for the role. I've got nothing against your right leg. The trouble is, neither of you.
It was in the accent, it was in the dialect of Cook.
In the midst of life, Pete, we are in death, as the poet says.
No, he didn't say that. You'll think of Coleridge. What he said was, in the midst of life, we are in debt, referring to his own financial plight brought about by spending too much on opium, what he took intravenously to do his poems.
Oh, I see, yeah.
I think Peter had that in him anyway, that know-it-all character.
And there is something about Peter's absolute kind of certainty and Dudley's bewilderment, not surprisingly, at being given some of this information.
Or are we in fact merely a reflection of ourselves, as seen in a pool at twilight?
What you're saying is, if the imagination of an imagined being imagines that life itself is imaginary, how can the imagined life of the being who is himself imagined be imagined by the being who is imagining himself through a glass darkly? That's what you mean, isn't it?
Yeah.
Peter was sort of just like the first sort of really sort of intelligent kind of TV comedian that you remember seeing.
What's H.L. up to? Oh, minding his P's and Q's, I think. I think he's mixed up in this NEDC thing. I thought it was the EEC. Could be, yes, could be. How's BN, by the way? BN, he's okay, a bit short of the LSD. I saw TD the other day in the YMCA. Yeah. I thought he was with TWA in LA. No, he's with BEA in NW3. You're thinking of DG. DG is VIP in the USA. Correct, yes. You heard about old HK? No, what? Oh, he did frightfully well. Picked up the VC in Germany. At least I think that's what his mother said.
I think it's extremely hard to say where Peter's comic invention came from. I think it's very underivative. There are aspects of his humor which bear resemblance to things that were going on in what was loosely called the theatre of the absurd.
Sir Arthur, what is the purpose of your visit to Australia?
There is no porpoise involved in my visit to Australia. I've never got involved with a porpoise. One of my strictest rules, never get involved with a porpoise. Whatever you may have read in the sensational tabloids, I have never become involved with a porpoise. What I think is happening is you're misreading the word purpose. You see, the word purpose, which is a totally different kettle of fish. Yes. Though, of course, ironically enough, the porpoise is a mammal. It suckles its young.
Like a whale?
Yes, I love a whale. Have you got one on?
We used to just improvise into a tape recorder, and then we listened to it back, and I took headings, and then we struck out some headings, we added more. So we knew sort of where we were going.
Another thing we've wasted money on is that bloody Cézanne, Grande Baigneurs.
Yeah.
Have you seen that load of rubbish?
No.
It's over there.
Oh,
There it is, those fat nude ladies with their bottoms towards you.
Yeah.
That's Les Grandes Baigneurs. You know what it means, don't you?
What's it?
Big bathers. Is that all? That's all it means, big bathers. 500,000 quid we pay for that. Those nude women come out of our pocket, Dad.
Yeah. Worked out about £50,000 a body, didn't it?
Well, you could get the real nude ladies over there for that price.
Yeah. My Aunt Dolly would have done it for nothing.
She does anything for nothing, doesn't she? Yeah, filthy old cow. You enjoying that, Sanders?
Pete does spend most of their time corpsing in front of the camera, as far as I could tell. But I can easily understand why. He was wonderfully out of control, and it was very, very hard to stay with him. I mean, and Dudley must have, well, you can tell over the years. I mean, Dudley's just fundamentally very often left and just going to sit there going, you know, and giggling, and just watching this amazing machine kind of churning over.
Now, I'll tell you what you've done. What you've done, you've got into the tropical fish department.
Oh, I see.
That's tropical rather than topical, you see. And what has happened is, during the winter months, during the gales and the blustery weathers, sometimes some of the letters become dislodged, you see, because of the gales. And obviously the letter R has become dislodged in this case. I was talking to the keeper about it, actually, and he said that very often, during the winter months, his R's blew off.
There was a